Good day to our prospective SwiftTrip stakeholders. I am Richard Zinadi, the CEO of SwiftBiz Transport Limited and the founder of the SWIFTtrip project. It's a global one and it's a very innovative one. It is the first eco-chain e-taxi app estimated to perform over 999 million trips in its first year after the launch. This is also an invitation for a live seminar at our Port Harcourt office on Mondays to Saturdays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. and you can see the address on the screen. Now this is a guide to invest in the development of SwiftTrip and become an automatic trillionaire. When we talk about this concept, the automatic trillionaire, it is not mere words. If you stay true to the end of this presentation, I would show you exactly how you can become a trillionaire in some years from now. So let's get started with this presentation, believing that you who's watching this right now, you have the same goal with us, which is unprecedented financial breakthrough. Now the launch date of the SwiftTrip app is set for January 30, 2023, and our launch city is Liverpool in the United Kingdom. This is a global project, and from the very first day of its launch, we are giving it that international standard. I tell my prospect this, that it is not our fault that our leaders has kept our country underdeveloped until now. So on the launch of a business of this standard, we would not launch it in an underdeveloped nation. But from the very first day, we're giving it a feel of an international touch. Now, let's look at the unique app features of the SwiftTrip. As SwiftTrip grows in number, many persons can decide to open a shop on the app and market their products to other users of the app. And when a user buy from that merchant, we deliver the products. So we say sell on SwiftMart and deliver by SwiftTrip. It is amazing how users can make good wealth out of this system. And this is the booking screen. First of its kind, we're adding the interstate booking. First of its kind, we have added the sedan and the SUV ride, so users can enjoy more powerful cars. So we've also implemented something that benefits our users so much that you can see the kind of car, the front view, the back view, the side, the interior of the car coming to pick you. So this is what the e-commerce phase looks like. We call it SwiftMart. And we also created something very powerful, and it is the social screen, where users can make adverts of their products. That is, merchants, users who are now merchants, can make advertisements and link it to their shop, and if the user sees it, they can decide to click directly and buy that product while SwiftTrip delivers the product. And then we added something very powerful for users to be able to express themselves, and this is quite beautiful, that first of its kind. We've added something very powerful here. SwiftTrip runs on the Solana blockchain. So we have a live token which we call SwiftCoin. So first of a kind, will users, good content creators, for instance, we're using Sabinus here, will not just earn likes, comments, views, shares. No, you're going to be earning good amounts of money from people who decide to appreciate them by just clicking on either the small coin, which will go with very little fraction, let's say 0.01 SwiftCoin. SwiftCoin is tied to $1, and the bigger coin could be $1 or one Swift coin. So when the person clicks on it, it simply goes directly into the wallet of Sabinus right here, whom we're using for this illustration, or other content creators. Now they are having the ability to earn good money from users' appreciation. Now what will this do? It's not just going to bring users to the system, it's going to bring celebrities into our system. Why? This is the first of its kind that such will be implemented in the social media. So why it took Uber 11 years to accumulate 118 million users, it's going to take SwiftTrip just 2 years to achieve 200 million users. And in 5 years, we should be talking about 1 billion users to the SwiftTrip app. It's amazing. I added the screen here for our stakeholders who do ask me this very important question: how do we monitor our business? The users are able to monitor the system progress. I mean, the stakeholders, they can see per trips, per day. They can see the trips the company has done per month, per year, and at all time. If in 10 years SWIFTtrip has completed 5 billion trips, it will record it on the trips over there, and you will see the profits that you have made at all time. While the day record cleans every 24 hours, it records on the monthly basis. The monthly cleans on every 30 days. It records in the yearly account. The yearly account cleans 365 days, and it wipes off, and it's recorded in the all-time account. People might also ask, how do we withdraw? How do we top up? How do we send P2P? It's all here at the top. You can see this financial monitor, and this is the top up, the withdrawal, and all of the future that you need to manage your finance on the app is available. And we also have the welfare screen, but I will be talking about that. It's amazing. It's wow. And this will also benefit our users big time. Now let's talk about our business analysis. Why are we so confident that we will perform just as we have said? But first, we've already appreciated our friends Garrett Camp and Travis Kalanick. Kudos to these men who were actually just stranded on the streets, having the money rather to take a ride, but finding it difficult to get a ride that will take them to their destination. So in that frustration, they asked, why can't someone just create an app that would connect a passenger and a driver? And that was a boom idea 11 years ago that has transformed the transportation industry. So from the streets today, they operate not just cars that runs with drivers, but in other developed nations, Uber is performing with the robotic taxi. When SWIFTtrip gets here, it is another boom for all our stakeholders. Why? Because the profits we are sharing for the drivers will now be all accumulated to the company and its stakeholders. It is amazing, and we have a great future together here. So now let's look at the very reason why the slide is presented to us. In 2020, Uber generated $11.1 billion as revenue for that year through 4.98 billion trips, and that was performed by 93 million users. Why did I bring up the slide of the COVID-19? This was when businesses were going down the drain, when businesses were going for closure, but yet Uber was thriving awesomely well. In 2021, Uber topped up with another 2 billion trips, which generated for Uber $17.4 billion. This figure in the 2020 is not included in the 2021. There is a fresh income coming in. So this is a business that commands daily patronage, repeated patronage. So long Christ tarries, movement continues upon the earth. SWIFTtrip is a boom success. So now, I want you to see this clearly, that 118 million users of the Uber app do not share a dime out of $17.4 billion. This is what we are here to correct. Profit distribution. Imagine SWIFTtrip just sharing 20% of $17.4 billion back to the users. Do you know how many lives will be transformed? It is massive. So now let's go into the business of the day. We are here to raise a project fund for the successful development of the SWIFTtrip app, setting up of the SWIFTtrip administrative offices per state, and the launch of the SWIFTtrip app in Liverpool. We are raising a project fund of 1.2 billion naira. So how can we achieve 1.2 billion naira? We can by simply selling 5% of SWIFTtrip to smart investors. There are 10 investment levels in SWIFTtrip, and when you buy a SWIFTtrip slot, you become a SWIFTtrip stakeholder. Now let's see the stages of the SWIFTtrip stake offering. We are at the current stake offering where 5% of SWIFTtrip equals 800 million, and that means the Galaxy slot is 160 million, which is 1% ownership of the app, and the base slot is 100,000 naira, which is 0.005% of the app, and this lasts from August 1st to the 31st of August 2022. The next stage of our stake offering will be from September 1st to 30th, which will be an increment of 12.5%, placing 5% of SWIFTtrip at the value of 900 million, meaning the Galaxy slot becomes 180 million and the base slot becomes 112,500. Our next stake offering from October 1st to 31st will be an increment of 12.5%, which will place the 5% of SWIFTtrip at 1 billion naira. The Galaxy slot becoming 200 million and the base slot 125 million. The next stake offering November 1st to 30th will be another increment of 12.5%, putting the 5% of SWIFTtrip at the worth of 1.1 billion naira. That is the Galaxy slot becoming 220 million and the base slot 137,500. And then the last slot, which brings the SWIFTtrip stake slot to 1.2 billion naira, will be from December 1st until all the 5% is sold out completely. And that will bring the Galaxy slot to 240 million and the base slot 150,000. So I want to quickly draw your attention to something, but you are free to make your own choices. As a smart investor and someone who is quite understanding in percentage sharing, you would understand from the calculations here that the base slot, the basic 4 slots, is more expensive than the basic 3 slots. So you are encouraged to rather go for the basic 3 slots than the basic 4 and the base slot. Why? 100,000 times 4 gives you 400,000, but 0.005% times 4 cannot give you 0.0025%. Rather, you get 0.0020%. I believe you understand that. So how will the SWIFTtrip stakeholders profit? In a nutshell, what is the need for you? Now we want to look at converting those percentage shares into money. Now let's look at what the stakeholder stands to earn on a trip that costs a passenger 2,000 naira. If that passenger pays 2,000 naira to a driver, the company automatically, through the app, shares 80% to the driver. I wanted to see what happens when we begin to make use of the robotic cars in more developed nations. This 80% becomes for the company and for her stakeholders. It's amazing what will become by then. So let's just go with the usual right now, the driver and the passenger. So the base slot earns 1 kobo out of that. Remember, the base slot earns 0.005%, right? 0.0005% of 2,000 naira is 1 kobo, and 1% of 2,000 naira is 20 naira. So let's now turn kobo into cash. I tell you, kobo can become millions, billions, and even trillions of naira. So let's just see how. Remember that Uber performs 17.5 million trips as of 2021 every day. Let's look at when SWIFTtrip gets to 10 million trips. Let's not just go too high. Let's just say 10 million trips. And we're still sticking to the average of 2,000 naira per trip. The Galaxy slot investor who is earning 1% on every trip will be earning 200 million per trip. 20 naira times 10 million trips per day, 200 million naira per day. And then the base slot who earns 1 kobo per trip is 1 kobo times 10 million trips will be earning 100,000 naira per day. Let's look at per month analysis. Uber performs 525 million trips per month. Let's now just say when SWIFTtrip expands to turn over 400 million trips, let's not go too high, let's just say 400 million trips per month. The stakeholder who is earning 20 naira per trip in 400 million places will be earning 8 billion naira per month. And a base slot who is earning 1 kobo times how many trips? 400 million trips will be earning 4 million naira. Let's look at a year. Uber performs like rightly said, 6.3 billion trips per year as of 2021. When SWIFTtrip expands to turnover just 5 billion trips per year, a stakeholder would be earning in an average, the Galaxy who is earning 20 naira 20 naira times 5 billion trips per year would have amounted for that stakeholder 100 billion naira, and for the base lot 50 million naira. Now, where we could be in 30 years. I showed you this from the beginning, telling you that if you stay true with me, I would show you the roadmap to an automated financial freedom. When SWIFTtrip would have completed 5 trillion trips in 30 years, why do we sound so certain that we are going to even supersede this by 30 years? This is a small figure compared to what we would have actually done by 30 years from now. But let's our sanity just be retained. Let's go 5 trillion trips in 30 years. Our stakeholders would have gained 5 billion% gain on their SWIFTtrip assets. I don't know which kind of investment you think you will want to do. Is it cryptocurrency? It is not compared. Is it land? It's not compared. What is it oil business? It is not compared. Is it politics? It is not compared to what we're doing here. It is something that so long the world continues, so long people continue to move around, so long you and I, our mobility problems is not permanently solved. Look at this. You go to the office today, it seems as if your problem is solved, the mobility problem. You still have it. When you want to go home, it is your vehicle that will take you, or you book a trip, or however you want to get to your house. It is transportation. You get to your home, you're sleeping, it seems as if your mobility problem is solved. As you wake up, you go take your bath. What will take you back to your office or wherever you're going to? It is transportation. The only time when a person's mobility needs is solved is when that person is dead. It's only solved by the grave. So this is a business that survives any kind of economy. People say I want to have landed properties here and there and miss out of this kind of investment. Let me ask you, can land save you from war? Or from, let's just use war. War is a good illustration for a chronic economic disaster. War can dispossess any person from his landed properties, from his buildings and whatever that person thinks he has. But when war is happening in a country, can it happen in all continents at the same time? Can all continents be in war? No. If one country is in war and it becomes a threat to our business, we are flourishing in other countries. That is the fact. So the Galaxy investor who is now earning worldwide 20 naira per trip in 5 trillion places would have earned 100 trillion naira. A premium slot would have earned 25 trillion. The ultimate slot would have earned 10 trillion. The deluxe slot would have earned 5 trillion naira. The standard slot would have earned 2.5 trillion naira. The basic 1 slot would have earned 1 trillion naira. The basic 2, basic 3, basic 4 will still be in billions of naira, and the base slot in 50 billion naira, who is earning 1 kobo. But the fact is, as years go by, every stakeholder in SWIFTtrip will become a trillionaire. So the first day, in fact, the day you make your stake, you buy the SWIFTtrip stake and you get your SWIFTtrip MOU signed for you as an owner of SWIFTtrip, you are already an automatic trillionaire. This is an undisputable roadmap to an automated financial freedom. And let's look at this quick one. Why do we think that when we launch this app and we orient users how to make use of the app, why do we think that they will stick to the app? Let's look at an analysis here. When a user who have gotten the understanding of the SWIFTtrip app and leaving our seminar venue determines that in this year I am going to bring in 1,500 users. If that person performs that, just linking people to his code, his referral code, that's all. The persons is bringing in are just to download the app. They are not to register with any money. People come into SWIFTtrip free and they are making a lot of words. So let's see this. A 1,500 users might have generated for that user 200,000 trips. We are still calculating with 2,000 naira. Now, in the first generation, those persons he referred directly, he's earning 1% from whatever they do. In the second generation, he's earning 0.3% in whatever they do. In the third generation, he earns 0.1%. In the fourth generation, he's earning 0.1%. So let's see this. 200,000 trips times 20 naira of 2,000 naira is 1%. It's 4 million naira. This could happen in a month. It could happen in a year. It could happen in a day. We don't know, based on the dynamic nature of human beings. But whenever it happens that 1,500 users connected to a user has turned over 200,000 trips consistent with 2,000 naira, that person would have earned 4 million naira. And in the second generation, if 1,500 users brings in just 20 users, in the second generation, that person automatically owns 30,000 users, and in 0.3%, he will be earning 6 naira on a trip consistent with 2,000 naira. Now, if 30,000 users performs 3 million trips, could be in a month, it could be in a year, it could be in 2 years, whenever, but he would definitely earn 18 million naira from just 6 naira. Then let's look at this. In the third generation, 30,000 users brings in 20 users each. That gives the user 600 users in his third generation, and they can generate for him 6 million trips per month or in a year whenever 2 naira, which is 0.1% times 2,000 naira, would give you 2 naira, times 6 million trips. That is 120 million naira. Now let's look at his fourth generation. If his 600,000 users in the third generation brings in 20 users each, he automatically owns 12 million users in his fourth generation. How long it will take to happen? It could be in a month, it could be in a year. But whenever 12 million users have generated for that person 200 million trips, how much would he be earning from a price consistent with 2,000 naira, from 0.01? That's 2 naira. And he would have earned 400 million naira. How much did this person come in with? Nothing. He only downloaded the app, registered his email, the referral code of the person who invited him, his first name and his second name. That's all. And he's set and positioned for an unprecedented wealth, let alone the stakeholders. I was talking to a man, and when I explained this part for him, he said, okay, when it's launched, then I'll be a user. That is a poor mindset. A person who might think, I am a user, I will bring in 1 million users to SWIFTtrip. You are earning by your own energy and your efforts. But a stakeholder who becomes part of SWIFTtrip and buys part of SWIFTtrip, a user brings in 1 million users. Another user brings in 1 million users. Another user brings in 1 million users. Why these 3 users are earning from their 1 million? A stakeholder is earning from what? 3 million users at a goal. That is the power of being a stakeholder of SWIFTtrip. I really encourage you to be part of this business. This is the SwiftBiz Board of Trustees, and I believe that you've been added to our WhatsApp group or our Telegram group. If not, you can reach out to me on 08168110925. Or the person who referred you to this, I believe that person has direct communication with me. So go through that person and reach out to me and share this concept to as many around you, so that we can move forward together as stakeholders of this project and accomplish something great for life. So I say, do not miss the SWIFTtrip stake offering. Thank you for watching.